Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're going to be talking about the most recent chapter of Black Clover. Before getting into that, I will break down into different points. I always like to throw an introduction about things I'm going to be doing, or things I have been doing, or things I've got. And just to give you a heads up, I will be doing a catch-up on One Piece at some point. I will be doing a catch-up on My Hero Academia at some point, and I will be doing a catch-up of the Seven Deadly Sins. Before that, I just wanted to share something with yourselves. I know in the past, I've always asked about how do I improve my content. People want to know about certain things. What should I do more? A lot of people have said you should have a background full of manga, or shows that you really care and this is your thing. Now, I don't really have a background full of manga, and for the most part, this is my spare room, my hobby room, and I do have some things that are manga related here. But I don't really display them because of size and space purposes. But I wanted to share with you something I did get recently, did arrive, and it's the World Trigger Border Briefing file. Essentially, it's a book or a data book that contains all the characters you've seen so far in World Trigger. As you know from previous reviews, I've really liked it. I've really enjoyed it. I've really followed it. It's a shame it's on break, but hey, Hunter x Hunter can come back. I'm sure World Trigger can come back as well. But anyway, that is one piece of my collection. Speaking of One Piece, I have things I bought or got given to me as presents for my birthday. I will show that as in my catch-up video for the One Piece to show you I do have some manga collections other than everything else I talk about. That being said, brilliant chapter, crazy hype chapter. Let's get into it. So, chapter 127, the Black and Golden Sparks. So, there's a few things you can take from the title. I'll talk about it at the end when I'm finishing it off, but the way the chapter went about, there's a lot of different things that were interesting, enjoyable, question markable based on translation, which I will be waiting for on Monday to see how it officially is translated. But an overall interesting chapter. There's a few points I didn't quite like. There's a few points I did like. But let's get into it. Let's start with the first point. And I think the first point resonates pretty interestingly well for me because of the mystery and the lore of the actual world in Black Clover. And there was a statement that Langris has made, Finral has made about Langris here, where we talk about the power, depending on the translation, it's called a tremendous power or it's called an ominous power that Langris is letting out. And basically, it's attributed or kind of linked, it's reminiscent of the third eye power. So when you think about the demon power full of resentment, full of hatred, does it mean he has that type of connection? Is that why he's powerful? Was he experimented on as a child? We don't know any of those. It's not even specifically mentioned, but there is that possibility why he's that powerful, bearing in mind there's a lot of pressure on him as a child because of Finral not living up to standards, and maybe they went above and beyond to make sure he was there because they're nobles. But there is a possibility that something like that has happened, because throughout the chapter he's actually strangely something's overcome him, and that's an interesting point I wanted to touch on. I wanted to make sure I put that out first because that could be a plot device or plot point later on in the story. But yeah, that's point number one. Now, point number two, it's got a few little tidbits in it, so I'll kind of go through it. So there's the whole thing with the ominous power, but then Finral's like, no, he's still my brother, and then they go into the battle and they start the magic power. But one thing that kind of stuck with me was the translations, and it's happened all the time with different chapters, but this one's kind of important because it might lead to something later on. Finral says in one of the translations, even though mother doesn't say so, you are still my brother, or something along those lines. And then in another translation it says, even though we have different mothers. So I don't know how much of a prominent piece that's going to be later on down the line. I will wait for official translation. I may mention it in my next chapter review. But is this going to lead to other siblings from either parents or other lineage or other families that work in a similar way, where nobles has multiple wives, different children with different abilities and things of that nature? So we'll have to wait and see on that part. But then the real stuff happens, and the magics clash, attack versus defense, and the outcome is quite clear. There's a difference of power. So for the most part, for as much as Finral defended, he did get shot to smithereens. If you look at him on the floor at the end of the match where he's out, he's basically got chunks missing. He looked like he's got been involved as a victim or a drive-by. Although it's a bad thing to say and it's a really bad kind of occurrence that does happen, he is shot to smithereens. He's like a cheese grater right now. He's got full of holes and he's down. Now, on the flip side, another thing that I wasn't kind of really into was the whole Leo's kind of doing his thing. Basically, with the attack that Finral couldn't fully defend, the crystal goes down. And at the same time, just a bit later, Leo's attack goes through. I didn't like that. I was hoping it'd be a lot more clean. But the positive side to this is it does leave room for improvement. Ultimately, I was hoping with 2 against 1 on that side, it would make a bigger difference. Or, you know, the Langris and Finral thing was a lot more clear, timing-wise in comparison, just so we can say, okay, this is a definitive winner here. But we didn't get that, but this could leave room for improvement for later on, because we do get Leo saying, you know, sorry, brother, I could have concentrated more and done more things. That being said, Langris team wins. They're moving on. That's the end of the point. So point number 3, flashbacks. This point I really want to talk about because they all really emphasize the same point, but they show 3 different elements of flashbacks, if I remember correctly, that I thought could be bunched up in one point. So to explain, there's one flashback where essentially there's people talking about Langris, essentially saying, yeah, you know, he talks down to people, and basically Langris is meant to be almighty essentially, and people can see through this rudeness, and essentially they know he's a bit of a jerk. That being said, Finral's a nice guy, he has a lot of friends, so a lot of the jealousy is because he's popular and he's seen in a better light from a personal point of view. So his inferiority complex doesn't come from his magical ability, it comes from the ability of being a better person, and that's ultimately what's portrayed here. Finral is a better person in that flashback. Flashback 2 is essentially where Finral is using a space magic to come see his younger brother, and he says, oh, you should come play with me sometime. So even though he understood that he was studying, was working hard, and he understood he wasn't going to be as good as his younger brother, he still took time to be the older brother and spend time with him where he could. And then you get the whole thing with Asta's speech at the end saying that, you know, Finral is always a better magic knight, a truer knight in the pride and in the, I guess, the decorum that really makes a knight, in the sense of being kind of like a person who's reliable, friendly, helpful, pillar of the community type of person, is what they're trying to get at here. So there's more to being a magic knight than essentially being powerful. It's an all-around kind of thing. It's like being a hero in My Hero Academia, and you have All Might, who's this charismatic character, the pillar of support, who's always smiling, and then you've got the second Shuto's father, who's essentially just wants to do the job. So essentially showing the differences. There's more to being a magic knight than just being powerful. I like that, and I like the idea that they've kind of woven that into the fabric of what a magic knight is, because ultimately they're exploring that as we're going to go along, and even more so here, because these are the Royal Knight selections, right? Anyway, let's move on to point number 4. Point number 4 could be 2 things in one, really, but because one of them is impactful but not as big, I'm just including it. So the important thing for this point was what was going on with Langris. Langris was like, he literally had bloodthirst. He wanted to kill his brother, step-brother, half-brother, whatever brother it turns out to be. And the moment he goes and he says he wants to kill him, die, exterminate, let this be the end of you, he is stopped. But the way he is stopped is probably the most important. He stops and he finds that on one side of him, he's got Magnus Swing with a baseball bat covered in flames. On another side, you've got that demon / whatever monster form that Luke has, and he's ready to grip him by the throat. And right in the middle, in his face, you have Asta with a sword to his throat, to his face. They're telling him, do not try to kill Finral. We will kick your ass. And I like that, because the thing is, this shows you team camaraderie, friendship, brotherhood, all those things that make Manga and Shonen good. You could say it's cliche, but honestly, the teamwork and the family and everything else is what I like about Black Clover. They're like a dysfunctional family, but they really care about each other. But the fact they went about doing this and they stopped him, even like Chamie, who's like Charmy Chamie, whatever you want to call her, it was not only just busy eating and fanning over Yuno, was ready to actually act. She was ready. She had her sheep type of Kaita magic out, and she was ready as well. So let's not forget, it doesn't matter how powerful this guy is, Langris, Mr. Vice Captain, they were ready, and one of them would have taken him down. One of them at least would have taken this guy down. Difference in translations, there's like, you know, why are you like, look, why are you making a big deal out of this? The match is over, you know, unless it's something to do with the fact that we've come up in rank. And then you've got another translation that basically is, I don't know why you're getting involved, you're so below us anyway, type of, well, this is Vice Captain side. So there's different translation to the actual content, but the meaning is still the same. He looks down on them. Why is he even going that far? If you step any further, they're going to destroy you and take you down a peg. Brilliant stuff. Now, what does this lead to? I mean, what this leads to is the whole Asta and Langris thing, and I'll get to that. But the minor point I want to touch on is the speech about the Magic Emperor. Now, the Magic Emperor can easily stop all this from going on because they want to go at it. But he says, no, in war or in these type of situations, there isn't no start and stop. And that's a really good way to look at it. It really shows you a different element of the Magic Emperor. To kind of put it into perspective, these wars and these little battles are like elements of war. When you raid the enemy fortress, you've got to be tactical, you've got to use the environment, you've got to be creative and use teamwork. All these things are elements of war that you will use in real life even. And I'm sure in their world also. And then he has that speech about the fact that he wants people that are powerful, but not people that will kill their own comrades. He wants people that won't take it lightly on their comrades, who will fight seriously, but not people that will kill. I like the fact that he's made that distinction that yes, we want people that are ruthless, but not ruthless enough to kill their own people. There's a line as a Magic Knight you shouldn't cross. I like that, and he lets them fight. And he goes, yeah, you can fight. I would like to see this. So I like the serious nature of it. The tone is expected of a strategic magic leader, a magic emperor, a sorcerer's emperor. So I like the fact this sets up this battle. So let's end with the final point: Langris versus Asta. So point number 5. I know this video is quite long. Thank you for bearing with me. But if you look at this now, they basically stop him from killing Finral. There's people that have come to kind of help him. Noella, this other fellow has come. That's fine. Asta tells him straight, listen, you might be powerful, you might be much more stronger than your brother is the better Magic Knight. And basically, Langris is like, well, I've never liked you anyway, let's fight. And he doesn't give him an opportunity, he throws an attack. I'm like, yo, this guy is intense, he's not messing about. Asta's up for the challenge, he cuts it, deflects, cuts, absorbs it, and puts it out. And he goes, my words exactly, let's fight. The Sorcerer Emperor's like, yo, okay, let's fight. Seriously, by the way, not that geeky, funny thing, cute thing that he does. He's literally saying, let's fight. I like it, but what are the implications? So, when you want to look at the actual standings, you've got groupings. This is kind of like the quarterfinals, the second round, right? So, ultimately, this was going to be a fight in the next round anyway. You know, Team Asta versus Team Langris and the Cronies, right? So, that was going to be a semi-final thing. On the other side, we've got quarterfinals that have yet to happen. We've got the Luke Voltier's team versus a Lil Bal Malte's team. And then we've got Euro's team with Noella versus the other team that we don't really know much about. So the idea was that them two were going to fight. They were going to meet in the semi-finals, and then the winner of Langris and Asta would fight whoever was on the other side. The fact that they're stepping up to do this, is this going to be considered an official match? Is this going to have an impact on the rest of the tournament? Or is this literally going to give opportunity for Asta to shine? Is this really going to show you the opportunity how powerful Asta is? Or is he going to get outclassed? There's different ways to look at it. There's different worries and concerns. I'm excited regardless. I hope you are too. The translations are a bit all over the place, but I'll check them out later and verify for my own knowledge. But this is where you can look at it. If Asta wins, this shows he's more than capable at that upper echelon level. Not Magic Emperor, not necessarily Magic Captain, but Vice Captain level. It doesn't do much for Yuno, but it kind of lets his Yuno's rival shine, and that's going to position Yuno somewhere in the future. My worry with this is the fact that if they do achieve it or accept it as an official match and Asta wins, it could easily be one of those gone situations at Hunter x Hunter where he passes, he beats his opponent through a weird way, and he wakes up to realize something weird has happened and things are not quite what they used to be, or something like that's happening. For example, if you look at it from the point of view of Asta, let's say Asta wins, barely, he's unconscious, and because of his injuries, he's out for a bit. But because there's other matches going on, they said, okay, we'll let you recover, and then if you're ready in time, we'll let you fight in the finals. So imagine that's the case, right? And in that time, Luke and Little Ball Malte have a fight, the captain of Azudia, and then Yuno's not have a fight. Something happens in that area, and then the outcome of it is not something we expect, like somebody dies or something like that. That does the whole weird gone thing, and we don't get that fight between Asta and Yuno, and they save it for a later date. Or they don't even accept it as a match, and they have to fight again later on. So something happens in this fight, and then they go, okay, we've let you cool your heads, let's fight again, and then it's a completely different thing, and it's a development thing for Asta. So there are a lot of different things that could happen with this. I don't really care. Why? Because I have all the faith in the manga to write a good story. I'm letting him do his thing. This is his story. I'm just excited to be part of the ride and do my reviews. Anyways, hope you like what I pulled out the content. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will see you in the next one. Peace.